unknown caller.
Nzikiza nebaze bannamawulire abazze mu Nambiro. Bampita Dr. Oledo Samuel, President w'abasawo mu Uganda. Munzikirize mbagambe nti no ensonga eziyitingana nti naresigninze ku bukulembeze bwa Uganda Medical Association ensonga nfunyo temuzi w'amakulu nkyali president wa Uganda Medical Association ensonga zaffe tuzihandlinga internally era nkimanyi ensonga zino ziva ku lunaku olw'omukaaga ng'ennaku z'omwezi 3 bwe twali E'kololo nze kennyini kamwa kwogera seekwekanga buli omu akimanyi ti Dr. Oledo Samuel abelonginga mu NRM era affiliation yange ne NRM evudde wala nga sinakwesima ku bukulembeze bw'abasawo kyava wala nesimbawo okurepresentinga Northern Uganda ku ntebe ya Vice Chairperson NRM era ku nsonga yemu mu kalulu akawedde aka East African Legislative Assembly Member of Parliament nakesimbamu mu kamyufu ka NRM era nenkagwa ate nga ndi president w'abasawo. Can you believe that? Nti bansula ate nga ndi president w'abasawo. Kiba kiraga nti no track record yange ebadde clear. Serimbise ate siri mu kwebitika siri mu kwekwekereza nti siri wa NRM. Ate ensonga yemu wojjukirako okuva emabega ng'abasawo mu Uganda na leading abasawo ku nsonga ekwatagana n'emisaala ejali zisuubisiddwa emyaka egiyise emabega okuva 2016 era mu kutambula kwaffe ogenda ku parliament police netukwatira ku CPS awo waggulu netufukamira nga nyambadde kinikokoti ne bannange era netufukamira mu kulaga obuwombeefu obw'ekitalo okulaga nti no tetulina nsonga yonna eraga nti no tuli aggressive ate okuva ku olwo olunaku saalabayo muntu yenna avaayo agamba nti no abasawo abadde beekalakasa ku nsonga ekwatagana n'emisaala egitali gye batannaba kwongeza abafukamiridde bakoze ensobi era ku lw'omukaaga nalidinga tiimu eyo yalimu bannansi yalimu bapharmacist abasawo b'eddagala yalimu badokita nga ensonga esinga ku byo yali ensonga ya kweyanza mu kulemeza eggwanga bweyamo bwe yatuwa ng'abasawo okulaba nti n'ensonga y'omusaala ekwatiddwako omusawo atandikibwako ke tuyita comprehensive nurse owa certificate n'afuna omusaala okuva ku 60,000 kati afuna akakadde kamu 40,000 ate omusawo dokita atandikibwako kye tuyita medical officer n'afuna obukadde 5 mu 40,000 okuva ku $3,000,000 nosanga omusawo akuguseeko afunye degree ey'okubiri n'ava ku bukadde 4 n'afuna obukadde 6 ate nga okusuubizwa kwali $10,000,000 kisuubira nti no mu budget ejja sente zaabwe zigenda kulinnya ku $10,000,000 ekya kitukigoberera ekintu ekyo then omusawo abadde mu field nga alina degree ey'okubiri ng'aluddewo awangaddemu emyaka 3 n'okusoba ng'afuna yava ku $4,480,000 okufuna $12,000,000 then omusawo omukugu asembayo waggulu eri gye tulina senior consultant n'ava ku $5,000,000 n'agenda ku $13,000,000 abaaye gwateeyanzaako baba bakuloga batya woba ng'olina ensonga endala zoweetaaga okolebwako gwe tosooka kweyanzaako kino kye bakoledde kuba mu byonna tulina ensonga nti abasawo 2,500 tebalina mirimu ate omukulembeze gwanga yali asuubizza nti health center 3 zigenda ku absorbinga bano abasawo naye okusooka olina sooka kweyanza era tweyanza omukulembeze gwanga kwolwo olunaku ku byakoze n'akuuma ako akakebera obwongo n'omubiri ke tuyita CT scan kati ku ssaawa eno kabunye Uganda yonna bakatadde mu malwaliro ga gavumenti aga regional referral hospital mu buli sub-region akakuuma ka CT scan gye kali nti ku ssaawa eno Munnayuganda tagenda kuva gyali kujja Kampala mu Mulago okumukebera n'akuuma ako bamulongoose yonna gyali wabanga afunye road traffic accident gye tuyita bodaboda ng'emukubye wabanga afunye accident abasawo abakugu kati kitukakatako okulaba nti no government abasawo abakugu bano nabo ebatadde mu malwaliro gano akana akuma ketuyita CT scan gye bakatadde akamulisa kiba kitegeeza nti kati omuntu yenna afuna accident ng'obwongo buli involved bayinza omukolerako mu kitundu kyennyini mwaviiridde oba mwafunidde accident kati woteeyanza kintu ng'ekyo oba muloge sijja kulimba era mu symposium ogenda okweyanza omukulembeze eggwanga ebintu bino ate mu kalicha yange okweyanza nkirabye nti ffenna tukimanyi nti ne mu Buganda okweyanza ofukamira omusajja afukamirira mukyala we afukamirira maama we ate ensonga yemu n'obukulembeze bwa Buganda omuntu afukamirira okweyanza Ssaabasajja Kabaka kati what about omuntu akulembera eggwanga fountain of honor nga buli omu gwe batunulira ng'omukulembeze eggwanga lwaki omuntu ayinza mufukamirira n'amweyanza nsobi ki eyakolebwawo ku nsonga yemu nze okubeera nga ndi nyina akakwate ne NRM okubeera nga ngwa mu tuluba lya NRM ate nga sivangako olunaku lwalumu kyegaana kintu ekyo ne bannange abasawo abalala abalina endowooza yemu bakitunulira nti nno sinakindi kulwa omukulembeze gwange ebirungi byakoze mu byobulamu n'ebisigadde kiba kitukakatako omusaba kwola olunaku nti yo excellence tujjukira nti ebintu by'osuubiza okukola ebimu bikyali mu maaso era tukusaba ku lw'obulungi bw'okoze ne gye tulaga komawo 2026 okulembera Uganda tekyalimu nsobi yonna because nange ngwa mu NRM kigana ekyokugamba nti nno Dr. Oledo bamugambye President wa Uganda Medical Association ave mu bukulembeze omulala gye nga banoonyerezaako kifu sinaakurizayiningako sinaba kuwandiika bbaluwa yonna eraga nti obukulembeze bwa Uganda Medical Association mbwabulidde nedda ekyo kifu era si kituufu ate tulina kye tuyita internal system ze twateekawo bw'abanga waliwo ensonga ey'okwemulugunya tulina internal system ekebera okulaba nti nno yonna ensonga eyo bagivunula era internal system ziri mugenda maaso era nsuubira mu kaseera akatono ennyo internal system tujja zicommunicatinga ate abasawo tujja bayita mu lujjudde bo kennyini basalewo nti olw'ekikola eky'obuzira ekyokwagala eggwanga n'okwagala ebyobulamu pulezidenti waffe Dr. Oledo kye yakola tusazeewo nti tweyongera tukole naye ate tulabe nti no atugasse wamu ne gavumenti okulaba nti ensonga ezikwatana n'ebyobulamu zikwatibwako n'amaanyi mwebale nnyo mu maaso ga kamera era nengeza nfuna omukisa okusikana omukulembeze eggwanga nziramu nenteeka amavivi ku ttaka nemweyanza kino nkiddamu nemweyanza olw'okukyusa obulamu mu byobulamu mu minisitule y'ebyobulamu okulaba nti nno abasawo ku ssaawa eno be 1% oba katundu kamu ku 100 abasinga okufuna ssente ennyingi mu Uganda kati woteeyanza muntu ngeyo era newenfuna akaseera akokubiri okokusigana omukulembeze wange nja kuteeka amavivi ku ttaka mweyanze omukulembeze oganga ate mujjukize nti ya excellence abaana bo bali eri abaamala okusoma obusawo abamu 25,000 abatambula mu buli kiriniki abalinganga abatembeeya tukusaba nabo bayingire mu health center 3 so ekyo kyo nja kikkaatirizaako n'ekyokubiri ekyokugamba nti obukulembeze by'obufuzi tubiyingiza mu bukulembeze bw'abasawo ekyo si kituufu because constitution eraga teina kakwate konna kaziyiza muntu yenna ayina enkizo oba ayina akakwate ne pate endala sina kindi ojja kwesanga nti nno omuntu gwe neesimbawo naye mu kalulu akawedde aka president of Uganda Medical Association yali ava mu kiwayi kya National Unity Platform naye olw'obwesiga abantu balina mu nze namukuba akalulu buva era paka kati ndoza akyali ku drip kyova olaba atambula yeeyogeza yikayika mu luguudo so ekyo kikulaga nti nno abasabo nabo kennyini bafuna obwesige ne bagamba newankubadde Dr. Oledo ali mu NRM twagala atukulembere atutwale atusomose we tulina okusomoka constitution yaffe tekiraga nti omukulembeze ayina okurizayininga nga bamukase nedda ekiramukula nti omukulembeze ye yeesalirawo okurizayininga na stepping aside kyesitakoze because abasawo bangi bagamba Dr. Oledo please kyewakoze kyamaanyi nnyo era weebale kweyanza mu kulembeza eggwanga era tebakirabamu nsobi n'emu abasawo abasinga obungi abatono boolaba aboogerezanya beba abantu abadde balemesa activity zaffe ez'okumoving around ez'okulaba nti no abasawo bafuna enkizo mu nsonga ezikwatagana n'okukola ate ku nsonga y'emu munzikirize mbagambe nti no tulina internal system ezigenda mu maaso era abasawo bajja kwegatta wamu bajje balabe nti no obuzira bwa Dr. Oledo bwe yakola n'ekintu kyakola okweyanza omukulembeze eggwanga bagenda kunnyonnyola ekisanja ekiddako by the 2023 tobeera surprise kubeera nga Dr. Oledo ye president wa Uganda Medical Association. The most unfortunate thing is the doctors who subscribe to this ideology. We cannot get the total number of them, but trust me, majority of the young doctors out there, they subscribe to the ideology that I presented on that day very clearly. And I spoke for the doctors who are affiliated to the NRM, who feel that for sure the president has done a great job. By the way, political affiliation, even at any profession, it is involved. All of us have internally what we believe in. I've come out clearly to indicate that I'm NRM. I've never hidden that from anyone. And the other doctors who have come out also clearly that they're NRM. And those doctors, I represented their voice on that day of the symposium. That, Your Excellency, us as the doctors who are affiliated to the NRM, who believe in this ideology, we are surely looking at the future of the medical fraternity being made better. And in that regard, Your Excellency, we are requesting you, consider our plea to come back in 2026. Was it a crime? As an NRM, was it a crime? Thank you. That I paraded people who are not doctors. Why don't you investigate the doctors I knelt with also when the police arrested us? Were they real doctors? Am I representing farmers? No. Am I representing fishermen? No. Am I leading butchermen? No. No individual, no doctor, no nurse, because actually that group had doctors, it had nurses, it had pharmacists. It wasn't only doctors. And he had some pre-interns, people who are going to do interns next year, who are purely very supportive of betterment of the health sector. The same group which also moved with me last year when we were being arrested for the welfare of doctors, ranging from interns to up there. So now, the question is very simple in that regard. Why don't you investigate two groups that I represented? Because it is not like only one group, one cohort. Investigate two cohorts. And please, that is diversionary. It is uncalled for. And the two, I can assure you that the health sector is solid, and the issue of apology and all that stuff, how do you apologize for something that you've spoken and you're convicted to speak it? That is diversionary. We should not consider diversionary issues. Colleagues from the Fourth Estate, this is Dr. Oledo Samuel, President, Uganda Medical Association. And following the recent events, I believe the unfolding of the NRM Symposium, which took place at E'kololo on 3rd of December, I believe we all got the information that Dr. Oledo himself knelt in front of the Fountain of Honor, recognizing his greater achievements, especially in health, that range from the salary enhancement of the health workers that right now, the least paid, that is a nursing, a comprehensive nurse, ranging from 600,000, now getting 1.4 million shillings. A medical officer moving from 3 million shillings to 5.4 million shillings. A consultant coming from 4.8 to 12 million shillings. Medical officer, special grade, area of contention, who are meant to go to 10, going to 6. And also senior consultant moving from 5 million shillings to 13 million shillings. Sincerely, in my culture, I'm told that whenever someone does a great thing, you have the obligation to appreciate and thank him. And in that same spirit, as we are still celebrating the great salary enhancement, the Fountain of Honor and the government hit us with another surprise of CT scans being put in regional referral hospitals. It's only people who don't know the value of a CT scan, that when they get a patient with head injury being transported from a district across a region, you've seen most of the cases in Mulago, majorly the head injury cases are referrals from other places. But now these CT scans are put in all the 14 regional referral hospitals. And that means now the super specialists that we're advocating for to be put in these regional referral hospitals, that we have neurosurgeons, ENT surgeons, we have general surgeons, we have gynecologists, every user of a CT scan to be in these regions will come to light. So if you do not appreciate that venture, then for sure you have no moral authority to criticize anyone. In that same spirit, the kneeling down is not the first time. Last year, I knelt down when the police stopped us as we were moving to Parliament, dissatisfied with the proceedings, that the issue that was meant to be addressed from the collective bargaining argument of 2016 was not addressed. And I knelt down with a team of doctors at CPS and were arrested, went viral. And the question is, how come at that time when I knelt down in front of the police officers, it was not an issue? Now what about in front of a fountain of honor? Sincerely. So I will not entertain anyone disrespecting the fountain of honor. I'll come out hard on this because he is our president and the culture deems it right for us to respect authorities that are head. Two, in the same spirit, please allow me categorically make it clear. The information moving around, Dr. Oledo has resigned, has done what? I'm the Dr. Oledo, I'm here. I've not resigned. I am still the president of Uganda Medical Association, and we are handling due process internally. We have a constitution which we are following to the letter. And the purpose of all that is to divert us from the major agenda. Having 2,500 doctors unemployed on street, and you think you're going to fight with government? We've had a modus operandi over time of fighting government. But you're not going to be a honorable profession which fights every now and then. We must have ability to appreciate and have a new approach in dialoguing with the government and trying to discuss. You want arm twist government to employ the 2,500 doctors. You want to do that. But there must be discussion to see that this agenda of health, which the president actually is very positive about, the issue of prevention, disease prevention, ranging down in the communities to avoid congestion in the hospitals, it is key. And that means our doctors will be employed in all the hospitals, ranging from Health Center 3. If you don't support that, then you're a wicked individual. Because our dear brothers and sisters are languishing on street. They are doing low-income jobs. They are surviving from clinic to clinic, running on border borders. Actually, we've lost doctors on border borders due to running from one clinic to another to make ends meet. We want them put in one place, do the work. Actually, we want a medical officer's salary to go up to 10 million shillings so that they cannot moonlight. They're working for government, they're in government. You cannot attain that when you do not have the ability to respect and appreciate what has been done. In Uganda, they say nyamento no kaya na edimuchi munkwawa. And that is for a fact. So, as the president of Uganda Medical Association, I've not stepped down, and due process is going on. I'm still the president of Uganda Medical Association. If there is any other president other than me, maybe that person has resigned. But as for me, I am still here. And I'm still leading the association. And the due process, internal due process, is going on, which we must respect. We shall communicate when the processes have reached the conclusive end. Thank you very much. Please. I think let's have good English here. I've not stepped aside in anything, in any way. I've allowed the internal processes to go on because our constitution doesn't have that provision of step aside, step down. It's only has a provision of president resigned, president investigated, president voted out by extraordinary general assembly. Those are the provisions. And it's clear.
So you're not stepping aside as well?
I am still the president of Uganda Medical Association and I'm not stepping aside. I am still there. Please, let's respect that information. I've allowed investigations to go on. That's why I've been quiet. I've not been involved in anything. The investigations are going on, but to paraphrase for you very well, is these same investigations that are going on. Last year, in November, I knelt down How come investigations never went on at that time? Reason being, at that time it was the welfare of doctors. So there it was about money coming to the pockets. This time, I'm kneeling down to appreciate the person who has put that money in our pockets. It becomes a crime. Does it make sense to you? To begin with, my coming as a president of Uganda Medical Association, my track record is clear. I've always been open with my party affiliation. I've always been NRM. History tells you very well that Dr. Oledo contested for regional vice NRM Northern Uganda against Honorable Jacob Olanya, may he so rest in eternal peace, the former Speaker of Parliament. I was NRM. That is before the elections of Obwa presidency. At the same time, I come later to also contest for Yala elections under the NRM ticket. And yes, I didn't go through. So my track record for the party has been clear. And the kneeling down in a clinical court, how come when I knelt down in front of the police officers in a clinical court, it wasn't a crime? Because history has it clear that I've ever knelt down in a clinical court with the doctors with me. It is clear. And that day, I knelt down in front of the Fountain of Honor, acknowledging the great attributes he has done in health and looking at projecting the future of our nation, especially in healthcare's delivery. Having that gesture, having him himself instituted things like diagnostic services in the regional referrals, I had hope as an individual that for sure, if this individual is still given the mantle to lead the nation, he can for sure give and deliver great services to this country in the form of health services. And I spoke this as Dr. Oledo Samuel. I did not speak as Obwa President at that time. I don't think you saw any highlight anywhere written out Dr. Oledo Samuel Obwa President. It was clear Dr. Oledo Samuel on my clinical coat. The same clinical coat I wore when I was kneeling down, when I was arrested for doctors. It's the same clinical coat I wore. So how different are the scenarios? Don't you see double standard in that? But that will not divert us from the agenda of making the medical profession better. We are going to continuously engage with government so that we better the profession. The young doctors coming up, they're not deployed. The systems must be outlined very well. Our people in the communities must get these services. So we cannot be in run here, run there, running battles. No, we must agree and work together and improve the sector.
Maybe the last one.
At all, actually, when I contested for Obwa President, the person who contested against me was coming from Nook. He had a political affiliation. Where there is elective politics, where there is election in any way, you cannot negate the political concept of it being involved. So, whether you want it or not, there's a saying, man is a political animal. Even you in a media house, I believe you have political affiliations and engagements. So, man being a political animal, doctors are not exceptional. Noise no tebakosa oba ntono.